Channel Y. Channel Y. A South Asian Canadian channel.
Hi, this is Priyanka Chopra and you're watching Channel Y.
The biggest South Asian media group, Y Media. Y Media. Y Media has newspaper, midweek, radio, South Asian Pulse.
Hi, I'm Amitabh Bachchan and you're listening to South Asian Pulse.
Hi, this is Amir Khan and you're listening to South Asian Pulse.
Television. You are watching Channel Y. Channel Y.
Prime Minister, welcome.
It's a pleasure to be back.
Online, SouthAsianDaily.com. The biggest South Asian media group, Y Media.
Hello and welcome to Y Media's exclusive report. I am your host, Ramona Singh, and today we're going to talk about the rental market here in Canada, as we've heard about the unaffordability crisis that's been going on for quite some time, with inflation rates as its highest in 31 years. Well, when it comes to affordability, not only are we hearing about people having a hard time paying their mortgage as the interest rates increase, but also it means when it comes to the rental market and their ability to afford to rent for people who cannot actually afford to buy a home. And this is, we have the stats from rentals.ca for around the country, and you'll be very surprised to know what the rents look like, what the number of increases are when it comes to month over month and year over year. We have the stats as of May 2022, so it's very relevant data, it's very current, and here we go, because it's very interesting to know where the rental market is in Canada, and when it comes to either investing in a property to be able to rent or as a renter. Well, here are where things stand at. So according to rentals.ca, the average rent for all Canadian properties listed are from $1,888 per month in May of 2022. It is, if you could believe it or not, it is an actually 10.5% increase year over year, and that is based on the annual year over year from 2020, 2021, and 2022. This is when it comes to a month over month increase, it's a 3.7%. It is the largest increase since May of 2019, so pre-pandemic. That's where things are at. So now I'm going to go through the data that has to do with single dwelling homes, townhomes, semi-detached condominium apartments, and rental apartments. But when it comes to distribution of data that is available, well, there's more data for rentals compared to townhomes, just based on the data of what is listed on rentals.ca. We're going to go full screen on the national rent rankings. There you can see the picture of Canada and where the market is when it comes to rentals, and you can see it's mainly in Ontario, the southern tip. And I'm going to go over this. So now we have the rent per area. And this is going to be very interesting because you want to know what it is for one bedroom starting from Vancouver to Toronto. What is the increase month over month and year over year? There you go. This is the data that we're going to be looking at right now. So as you can see, Vancouver is ranked as #1 in terms of the most expensive when it comes to the rental market. The average one bedroom is $2,377. When it comes to a month over month increase, it's a 1.8%. Year over year, 19.9%. So if you can imagine, 20% year over year increase. And when you look at the two bedrooms, well, that's that number of $3,495 for Vancouver we're looking at, and that's a year over year increase of 24.1%. Month over month, it's 5.1. Now, Toronto being the second most expensive rental market in Canada, the average one bedroom is $2,133. That is a 15.7% increase year over year, 3.3% increase month over month. And for a two bedroom, it's $3,002, and that's a 21.5% increase year over year and 5.4% increase on a monthly basis. So now, as rents continue to rise, as the market moves back towards the pre-pandemic levels of 2019, there is a graph that shows the average rent by month for all property types, and that's listed for when you can see the numbers when it comes to November 2018, November, and there you go. So you got the May 2019 and those are the numbers. So you can see there was an increase in the 2018, the 2019. You had the increase. You had the drop when it comes to May 2020, November 2020, May 2021. And then the increase starts as of this year, and you can see the May 22 numbers going back up close to the pre-pandemic times. And there's a lot of reasons to attribute to this this dip in the graph there. As you recall, when the mandates took place, lockdowns, a lot of people who had to work from home essentially moved to the outskirts, and that's when there was a big hit when it came to the rental market in Toronto and some of those metropolitan cities with high-rise buildings. Essentially, people were leaving them as they did not need to go to work in the downtown zone, or they moved out to the outskirts because they just needed more space. Or when it comes to students, they decide to stay in the suburbs or with their family for a lot longer than moving into the city. So I'm going to go through the average rent by property type and month. Well, when it comes to townhouses and basement apartments, there's not a lot of significant data on rentals.ca. And that seems to be a lot more volatile when it comes to pricing. So where we're going to look at our data is from single family homes, and when it comes to condominiums and rentals. So the most expensive units are single family homes with a landlord price for their rent asking for $2,881 per month on average. And this is as of May 2022. So we're just talking about this year, a few weeks ago. And when it comes to single family homes, this also includes single detached and semi-detached. They're experiencing an annual increase. And if you can imagine, the average rent between May of 2021 and May of 2022, there's an increase of 10.4% annually. So that's a massive increase. When it comes to condominiums, condominiums are ranking at $2,311 per month. And that is for condo apartments that has gone through the biggest increase and has risen by 14.2% annually in terms of the prices. When it comes to rental apartments, the average rent there is $1,696 per month. These are all national numbers. We're going to break it down to when it comes to municipalities in the Greater Toronto Area and as well as cities throughout the country. When you look at that, you have the rental markets for rental apartments. They are accounting, when it comes to rentals.ca, at 55% of listings on there. And condominium apartments for lease are marking up about 25%. So rental apartments are going for 55%. That's the number of distribution when it comes to inventory, what you see on rentals.ca. And when it comes to condos, it's 25%. So that's where we're going to draw most of our data from. And there you have the annual change in average rent for select property types per quarter. I'm going to go through that before that's changed. And here we have what you're seeing for the single family dwelling for condo apartments and rental apartments. These are the stats when you can see from 2019 and what the growth is. In 2019, it was 7.6%. You get the decline in single family homes. Before we change it and go to, I'm just going through the annual change in average rent for select property types by quarter. Canada, October 2019, perfect, to May 2022. There you can see in 2020, you had the drop in when it comes to growth and percentage-wise, and of course that has to do with COVID and the mandates that took place. And then you can see the rise go up to 14.6% when it comes to renting a single family home. And that's at 14.6%, moving on to 2022 at 15.7%, and that's where it's consistently growing. And you can see that from Q1 and Q2. In Q2, there seems to be a bit of a decline when it comes to single family homes in 2022, from 15.7% to 11.1%. Now, condo apartments, you can see a massive increase there as well. Comparison to the single family homes in the 2022 in Q1, there's the 13.7%, and then a slight dip of a 1% of 12.6%. 7% in Q2. And you can see the decline of what the rental prices were for 2020 and half of, or most of actually 2022 by it picking up in Q4 of 2021, and those are the numbers. Now, when you can see the rental apartments, well, there's a lot more consistency and stability in that market when it comes to rental apartments, and you can see that it never actually dropped in percentage-wise for pricing. It stayed fairly consistent even through 2020 and 2021 Q3 of 2020. You can see it was an increase of 4.2%. So the demand was consistently there, and you know what? It's demand that dictates the pricing, right? So when there's low demand, you see the price drop, which dictates the market for supply and demand. And it's picked back up in Q1 and Q2 of this year, and now at 4.9%. So very significant in terms of watching where those numbers are. When it comes to rental apartments, they've seen an average rental rate increase of 6% annually. And so very, very, very important to look at what it means. And, you know, we've heard so much about unaffordability and what that means for the market, but here are some stats to give you. Now, moving on to the average rent and monthly change in average rent by bedroom type. So this is significant for when it comes to whether it's a single person or it's a family who needs to rent multiple units, or whether it's people who are sharing a dwelling place. Here we have the average numbers for rent when it comes to April of 2021 compared to April of this year, 2022, and as well as May of last year compared to May of this year. And here you have the increase that you're seeing there. You're seeing that the rental rates ranging an increase of 2.2% for a one-bedroom unit up to an increase of 5.5% for a four-bedroom unit. And when it comes to five-bedroom units, where there's a decline of 4.1% annually. So in terms of rent changes year over year, three-bedroom units experienced the largest annual increase in average rent. That increase is there. You can see it's about 9.5% from $2,200 per month in May of 2021 to $2,409 per month in May of 2022. And what's very interesting now, we want to talk about municipalities, right? We want to rank based on prices that we're seeing for municipalities for all property types. So that means single family, that means your condominium and your rental buildings when it comes to throughout Canada. And this is for January 2022 to May of 2022. And these 20 municipalities and former municipalities, so Toronto before the amalgamation of the Greater Toronto Area, and for Toronto, essentially the split between Etobicoke, Scarborough, North York. We're looking at those splits. It is current day part of Toronto, but that is the region in Toronto that we're looking at. And you can see that this is now Canada-wide. Vancouver still number one in the marketplace for average rent at $2,909. And when it comes to the average rent per square feet, it's $3.74 in Vancouver. When it comes to the average size of an apartment in Vancouver, well, that's 851 square feet. And now when it comes to the average page views, this is important because it shows the demand when it comes to page views. This is on rentals.ca. It's one. And now here's the interesting thing. Just north of Toronto is Richmond Hill, the municipality of Richmond Hill, and that has ranked in second when it comes to rental prices at $2,645. The average price for rent per square footage is $1.75. Now you can see here's the reason why Richmond Hill's ranked so high is because there it's not about condominiums or rentals. It's you're looking at townhomes, single dwelling homes, semi-detached. Therefore, the average size per square feet is 1,757, and look at the demand there. When it comes to average page views, it ranks at like 19. And Toronto comes in third. Well, Toronto, again, it's comparison more to the Vancouver market, where the average square foot in Vancouver market for a rental unit is 851. In Toronto, it's 849. So it's at par. But when it comes, in Toronto, it's much less. I apologize. It's 727. So in Toronto, average average square feet size of a rental unit is 727, and the average rent price per square foot is $3.46. It's still less than what you see in Vancouver, which is $3.74. Toronto's $3.46 is the average rent per square feet, and the average price is $2,365. And there you go. So the breakdown of Etobicoke. Etobicoke is current day part of Toronto, but the region in Toronto, you have Etobicoke ranking in number 4, and then Mississauga, municipality on its own, the average square feet of the rental unit is 940. Price per square foot is $2.53, and there you have a high increase of 8 per average of 8 views per page, whereas Etobicoke you have 14, which is quite high, and higher to that is only when it comes to York, also an area in Toronto. North York is ranking there as well. Let's look at the municipality of Brampton. Well, the average rent in Brampton is $2,032. The price per square feet is $1.90. And the average square feet is 1,281. Again, these are larger units in comparison to what you're seeing in Toronto and Vancouver. And look at that, the average page views are at 17. And you know what, Brampton has been considered to be a lot more affordable when it comes to rental in comparison to Mississauga and the Peel region. But now you can see there's an increase even for Brampton in comparison to all the other regions. Hamilton has also had an increase. You have Ottawa that has been traditionally very affordable. Price per square feet is $2.53. And look at the size, it's 871 square feet. So that's very consistent. Now, what I want to talk about is you have Edmonton that has the lowest price, $1.52 per square foot. Size is 847 on the average rental price, but the average price per square foot is the lowest in the country in the city of Edmonton at $1.52, and it has ranked 20 average views per page for when it comes to rentals in the city of Edmonton. And when it comes to the lowest price for a rental per month, well, Regina has ranked as the number 1 at $1,038 a month. And there you have the average square foot price at $1.59. And there you have 18 average views per page. So very significant numbers of what you're looking at. And you know, when it comes to the smallest square footage, average smallest square footage when it comes to rentals, well, Toronto has that number 1 at 727 square feet. So very significant when it comes to these 20 municipalities throughout the country. So Edmonton has the lowest price per square footage at $1.52. Regina has the lowest monthly price for rent at $1,038 a month. And when it comes to the smallest square footage, that's Toronto. When it comes to the largest, well, that's what you're looking at for Richmond Hill at 1,757. These are family type homes and just in the outskirts of Toronto. But because of the size, there you have the price of rent is quite high, ranking in 2nd place. So this is where the market's at in current day, very significant. I want to go to average rent by property type. And this is again in municipalities, and you're going to get the split between single family homes, townhomes, condo apartments, rental apartments, and basement apartments. That's called the average rent by property type. And it's based on municipalities for January 2022 and May of 2022. It starts with Vancouver. This is based on when it comes to single family homes. We're just going to go to that slide right now. Yep, perfect. That's the slide we're looking at right now. And here you have Vancouver when it comes to, again, that same listing that we've looked at. Now, when it comes to single family homes, you have the price in Vancouver at $4,494. When it comes to townhomes, it's $4,351. Condo prices, $3,188. Rental apartments, $2,661. Basement apartments are calculated here at $2,115. This is very, very significant, as Vancouver has the highest average monthly rental rate through the first 5 months of this year. Winnipeg has averaged $1,780 per month for single-family homes. That is the lowest that we've seen on this chart for the first 5 months of this year. While Vancouver has the highest in comparison. Edmonton has the lowest average monthly rental rate for condo apartments at $1,357 per month. And when you compare that to Vancouver's average, it's almost double that, which is at $3,188 per month. Now, Regina, the city of Regina, has the lowest average monthly rental rate for rental apartments at $993 per month. And when you compare that to Vancouver, it's a night and day difference, at Vancouver averaging $2,661 per month. Saskatoon has the lowest average monthly rental rate for basement apartments at $1,096 per month. And you can look at that, it almost doubles up in Vancouver, average of $2,115 per month. So very significant stats in terms of what we're looking at. And when it comes to the average rent and annual change in average rent for condo and rental apartments, well, again, in throughout the country, you can see the price differences change between all the different years. Perfect. There you have 2020. There you go with Vancouver still at the highest. So for people who live in Vancouver, we feel for you when it comes to this and affordability, and when it comes to the rental increases that are in the area. And then you can see that averaging out where there's a dip in 2021, and then you have the increase. Look at that. In Vancouver, in May of 2022, the price has gone up 23.1% year over year. And when you compare that to the price for rent in 2020 at $2,432 compared to $2,315, and then now it's an increase of just under $3,000 at $2,850. And there you have Toronto again in second place after Vancouver, Kitchener, London, Hamilton, Ottawa, Montreal. First time we're seeing Montreal on the list at this rate. Calgary, Winnipeg, Edmonton, and Saskatoon. So quite significant. When it comes to Toronto, rents were up 19% month over month in May of 2022. That was following a decline of 11% annually as of last year and 6% annually as of May of 2020. Kitchener and London continued to see huge rent growth, as you can see there, with increases of 26% as of May 2022. And 25% year over year in the average of what you can see for apartment rentals. That includes condo and rentals, both of them. And as markets increased in both 2021 and 2020, which was during the worst time during the pandemics, if you recall, well, those areas, when it comes to Kitchener and London, they did very well. They benefited from that because people moved in the outskirts. Whether it's graduating students didn't move into the city like Toronto and stayed in the outskirts, or whether people moved out to get out of the city, no longer having to travel into their workplace and working from home. So that changes things where things are at. And now I want to talk about the average rent and average rent per square foot in Toronto. There you have, and the nearby places such as, again, in the region, still Etobicoke is part of Toronto, but it's split in terms of the area in Toronto. And then you have Mississauga there, North York, and Scarborough. And here you can see the average rent per square foot versus the average rent. And it's consistent from May of 2021. And you can see that all throughout the month over month numbers of between those quarters. So you have that over the 4 quarters from May 2021 to May 2022. In Toronto, the average rent hit $2,474 per month. That is an annual increase of 20%. Whereas in Etobicoke, Mississauga, and North York, they all had the similar levels of growth at 14% to about 17%. And in difference, you have Scarborough. That has been relatively flat and only an increase of 3% annually. So there you have it. When it comes to the average rent per square foot, well, it's in Toronto, it's increased from $3.12 to $3.58, and that's an annual increase of 15%. When it comes to North York, they have an annual increase of 13%, and Etobicoke, Mississauga, Scarborough, all of them have just an increase of less than 10%. So all very significant numbers when it comes to the rental market to have clarity on what is happening in the marketplace. When it comes to Vancouver and North Vancouver, we're going to look at those numbers for the Vancouver area, as Vancouver has traditionally ranked as the most expensive place to live in Canada, as well as when it comes to 8 countries in the Western Hemisphere, and also in Australia is part of that number as well. And Vancouver comes in number 3. So Vancouver is actually one of the most expensive places to live. And here you have the numbers here. Vancouver and North Vancouver have the highest price growth when it comes to rent, as an increase of over 30% annually. Can you imagine? 30% annually is the increase for Vancouver and North Vancouver. Units in Vancouver has had an average monthly rental rate of $3,095, and in comparison to North Vancouver, where the average is $2,946 per month, so very close to one another. When it comes to Burnaby, New Westminster, and Richmond, they have experienced small levels of growth at about 13% in comparison to Vancouver and North Vancouver, which is over 30. That's 30%. New Westminster is you're looking at 26%. You're looking at 26% in Burnaby there, so that's quite a lot. When it comes to average rent per square foot, while Vancouver and North Vancouver have remained the most expensive municipalities, where the average price per square foot is $3.87 and $3.62. So here you have it. And in terms of conclusion, well, it seems that after stagnation in the marketplace when it comes to rentals, it has picked up significantly in the second half of last year, and the Canadian rental market has experienced the largest monthly increase in average rent since 2019. The average rent has grown by 3.7% from April of 2022 to May of 2022. So that's quite an increase. And when it comes to demand for larger units, well, that was noticeable during the pandemic as people moved to other municipalities outside of the GTA or outside of Vancouver greater area. And here is the state of the market when it comes to Canada's major markets, and when it comes to rent growth. Well, here is your final summary. It starts with Vancouver up 23% annually, Toronto 19%, and other smaller municipalities that have experienced high rental rate due to people moving out to the outskirts. Kitchener at 26%, London, Ontario at 25%, Calgary at 20%. This is Y Media exclusive report. When it comes to the rental market in Canada, this is where the state of affair is. And as you can see, prices have risen this year compared to last year of May 2021. And this was the latest data from rentals.ca. I'm your host, Ramona Singh. Until next time, stay well and take care.
Watching Channel Y, a South Asian Canadian